Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Josh and this is your stimulus check update for the second stimulus package for Wednesday, July 15th. I hope everyone is having a wonderful week so far. In this video, I'll be discussing both the first and second stimulus checks, including what White House Economic Advisor Larry Kudlow had to say about the Phase 4 stimulus package now being conclusively confirmed. I'll also be going over the stimulus timeline, unemployment, the reopening of schools, and I'll be wrapping up this video by answering some of the comments and questions that I received in my previous video. But first, if you wouldn't mind real quickly liking this video, giving me a big thumbs up, it really just helps with the YouTube algorithm in terms of getting this video out to other viewers like you, and hopefully helping other people like you as well. Okay, so in an interview with Fox Business, White House Economic Advisor Larry Kudlow touched base on the next stimulus package, and he talked about a few of the things that we can expect to see in the next stimulus bill. But in addition to that, he also touched base a little bit on the reopening of schools. He mentioned that White House officials are completely on board with getting kids back to school, and he said, quote, "Kids staying home do a lot of harm and damage to the kids. I think interpersonal teaching is the best way to do it. Social reacting is very important, and of course, you don't want them to miss another year or a school year, which would set them back in terms of their actual learning process." He went on to say that parents and single moms would particularly have a hard time if kids stayed home for another year. Remember, schools in a way act as sort of a child care service for a lot of these parents and single moms, which they would otherwise have to pay out of pocket. This, of course, could possibly crunch these parents even more financially with the kids staying home for another year. But at the same time, you definitely do not want to put your kids' health at risk, you don't want to put their teachers' health at risk, and you don't want to put the parents where the kids are coming home to, or the grandparents that they live with their grandparents, health at risk either. Now, there have been some studies that actually counter that line of thinking that show that kids rarely ever actually transmit the virus to adults, but I guess you never really know. Kudlow also mentioned that President Trump is willing to consider adding additional aid for these schools to reopen in the fall, and he believes that there are 4 basic guidelines in order for these schools to reopen. These guidelines being masking, distancing, personal hygiene, and testing. Kudlow also said that if schools don't open K through 12, then that would be a setback to true economic recovery. I'm curious, what are your personal thoughts on that? Do you believe that kids being back in school is a great importance? Or do you think that it's simply too big of a health risk for them to be going back to school this early? Comment your thoughts on that below. Okay, so today is another Wednesday, which means the IRS is going to be sending out more direct stimulus payments to those who haven't yet received their first stimulus check. So with that said, if you haven't yet received your first stimulus check, I would be checking your bank accounts this morning. Let me know in the comment section below if you did receive your first stimulus payment, and also let me know in the comment section below if you're still waiting on your first stimulus payment. Now, if you go to check your bank account this morning and your stimulus payment is still not there, hang in there. The IRS is going to continue sending out more and more stimulus payments each and every week, usually on every Wednesday. So continue checking the payment portal and you will eventually receive a payment date. Additionally, just another reminder, if you are an expat living abroad outside the United States, the IRS did recently make note that they are going to be directly depositing your stimulus payment no later than July 24th. That's if you do have a US-based bank. Unfortunately, if you do not have a US-based bank, it is going to take a little bit longer. They will be mailing your check no later than July 24th, and hopefully it doesn't take much longer than a month for that check to arrive in the mail. And of course, if you have any questions whatsoever about your first stimulus payment, you can always call the IRS. The number they are accepting calls is 1-800-919-9835. Now, I will say there is a long hold time, so I would recommend calling in the morning, and you may not find out much more information than what you can already find through the payment portal. And finally, if you still haven't received your first stimulus payment, hang in there. I know it's extremely frustrating. I do apologize on the IRS's behalf. They should not be this slow, but hang in there. You will eventually receive your payment. All right, moving right along to some second stimulus check updates. And I have some very big news today, as mentioned, with White House Economic Advisor Larry Kudlow confirming a Phase 4 stimulus package. This was during an interview with Fox Business, where Kudlow touched base on the different things that we may be seeing in the next stimulus package. Kudlow said that first off, that he could confirm that a Phase 4 relief package is definitely on the way. Kudlow noted, as you read the reports and talk to the people on both sides of the aisle on the Hill, it is increasingly clear that there will be an additional package. So at this point, it's pretty obvious that we do have some direct aid coming very, very soon. With the Senate returning to Washington on July 20th, they hope to start and pass the next stimulus package from there. Now, whenever Kudlow was asked what we're likely to see in the next stimulus package, Kudlow backed off just a little bit, saying that he couldn't be totally specific. He only said that they're still pre-decisional and they haven't begun formal talks yet. Kudlow went on to mention some of the things that President Trump would like to see in the next stimulus package, which included a payroll tax holiday, which would be a 6.5% increase to after-tax wages. Now, this would obviously only have a positive impact on those already working or those returning to work. Kudlow also said that the White House would like to see some unemployment reforms and some type of back-to-work bonus. Kudlow mentioned, like we've heard from a lot of congressmen, that they certainly do not want to provide any type of disincentive to return to work. From that, I believe that he means that he does not want to extend the federal unemployment benefits to such an amount where people are actually earning more sitting at home, not working, than they would be actually working at their prior jobs. When discussing job growth in relations to the virus, Kudlow said, quote, "Job postings are going up and that's a very promising sign. There's also a housing boom, a retail boom, and a consumer confidence boom." And with at least some of that, I do agree. At least in Florida where I live, I've seen a lot more people out and about at restaurants, at malls, and they're just getting out of their house. There's just a lot more traffic in general. And I believe that it's either the fact that people are just sick and tired of being stuck at home all day and they want to get out, even if they know that they may be possibly putting their health at risk. Either way, it seems that people are sick and tired of being at home all the time and they just want to get out and resume their normal lives. Kudlow went on to say, "The employment numbers have gone up. Initial jobless claims have been coming down for 14 consecutive weeks. Small businesses are opening at 80%, and new business applications are also strong." Kudlow went on to say that even though he doesn't like to see all of these new cases popping up, that at least we know how to kind of handle this virus now and how to flatten the curve, and he believes that this will only be temporary. So from the sounds of it, we may possibly be looking at both an extension of unemployment, maybe just at a reduced level, so maybe $300 to $400 per week instead of $600, and we may also be looking at a back-to-work bonus. So with that, we would sort of have the best of both worlds with an extension of the unemployment benefits plus a back-to-work bonus. I do have to say though that if we do have a back-to-work bonus, it would be a little bit unfair to those people who were already working during this pandemic for them to not receive anything extra when people finally returning to work would be the ones getting the bonus. I guess in the end, it is a little bit difficult to please everyone. In addition to unemployment reforms, Kudlow said there also may be some extensions to PPP, a capital gains holiday, and finally, you guessed it, direct individual stimulus payments to individuals. So there you heard it, more direct stimulus checks to individuals and families. Now at this point, all we really have to wonder is how much these stimulus checks will be for and who all will be included in the next round of stimulus checks. In another recent interview that Kudlow recently had, he mentioned that he wants these stimulus checks to be one, for less than $1,200, and two, for lower income brackets and those people who do not have jobs. So if that were to be the case, that would be very bad news for a lot of people. That would leave a lot of people out of receiving any type of stimulus checks that receive the first round of stimulus payments. That's something that we definitely do not want to see. At the same time, these thoughts by Larry Kudlow also run counter to what Donald Trump is saying when he's coming out and saying that he wants the next round of stimulus checks to be more generous than what the House wants them to be for. He wants them to be more than $1,200. So what do you guys think about that? Do you think that Donald Trump really wants the next round of stimulus checks to be more than $1,200? Or do you think that Trump is simply trying to make a political statement and win votes over by saying something that he thinks the public may want to hear? Or do you think that maybe it's just a combination of the two, where Trump wants a bigger stimulus check and he wants to win votes over? What are your thoughts on that? Leave a comment in the comment section below what your thoughts are on that. Now, me personally, my thoughts, I really can't see the next round of stimulus checks having such a limitation to a lower income bracket. And I also can't see them being lower than $1,200. I think if they were to try to pass something like that through in the Senate, I don't think it would pass the Senate, for one, and for two, I don't think that it would pass the House, definitely. I think the House would definitely reject any type of bill like that that did not include at least a stimulus payment of $1,200. And I think the House would also reject a bill if it only included individuals who earn, like for example, less than $40,000 per year. Remember, the Senate will be returning to Washington in less than a week on July 20th, so we're about to hear some very, very big news. Until then, even though the Senate is on recess, we should begin to hear more and more things from the different legislators on what their thoughts are on the next stimulus package. And all in all, I wouldn't be concerned right now about what Kudlow is saying about reducing the stimulus payments lower than $1,200 and giving them to lower income brackets and only the jobless. In the end, let's face it, it's not really his decision. He's not going to be the one writing the the bill, and he's not going to be the one voting on the bill. It's not going to be his decision in the end. And yes, he may have some type of influence on what will be in the next stimulus package, but yes, at the same time, so will President Trump. And President Trump has come out and said that he wants more than $1,200 in the next round of stimulus payments. So there you have it. You have White House Economic Advisor Larry Kudlow saying less than $1,200 and only to lower income brackets. And then we have President Trump who wants to go more than $1,200. So in the end, I think that both of them will have some type of influence on the next stimulus package. But I think that President Trump's influence will be a little bit greater than Larry Kudlow's will. All in all, though, we're seeing a lot of mixed messages from the White House. All right, so at this point, I'm just gonna go ahead and answer some of the comments and questions that I received in my previous video. And if you have any other comments or questions for me, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. I do try to respond to as many comments and questions as I possibly can. And those comments and questions that I'm not able to get to, I do try to pick some of the more popular ones to answer in the next video in video form. So without further ado, let me go ahead and jump into the first comment of today's video. And that comment is from Ronald. Ronald says, would people that got the first check also get one more? I would be so grateful. We can't live off of $900 per month. That's not enough for elderly people to live on. Thank you. All right, thank you so much for that question, Ronald. And my guess is that even though the next stimulus package has not yet been passed, you should be receiving the second stimulus check as well, as long as you receive the first stimulus check. In fact, Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin recently came out and said that everyone who received the first stimulus check should also be receiving the second stimulus check as well. So with all that said, you should definitely be receiving the second stimulus payment if it does get passed. All right, moving on to the next comment of today's video. It's from Matt. Matt says, what is the address to check on the checks? I still have not gotten my first one. Also, will people behind on child support get a stimulus check this round? All right, thank you so much for that question, Matt. So the website that you would want to go to check on the status of your first stimulus check would be irs.gov. And then from there, you click on Get My Economic Payment, and then you just fill in all of your information, and it'll let you know when your stimulus check is going to be directly deposited into your bank account. Now, it may say payment status not available, and that just simply means they have not yet scheduled a delivery date. So hang in there in the meantime. Now, as far as past due child support goes, unfortunately, we do not know much on that yet, just because the next stimulus package has not yet passed. In the first round of stimulus payments, if you did have past due child support, some of your check could be offset by that past due child support. So my guess is they're probably going to do the same thing, but I really can't say for sure at this point. All right, so on that note, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this video. If you did enjoy the content in this video and you'd like to see more videos like it, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. It is completely free to do so, and it's a great support to me. Also, if you would like to receive one free stock valued all the way up to $500 from Robinhood, please feel free to claim that stock by clicking the link in the description box below. And until next time, I'll see you guys, and I hope you have a great day today.